Don't miss the Green and Growing Show in the noon to 9 p.m. hours on Eagle TV. Ellis County Horticulture Agent Holly Dickman will identify common lawn and garden issues while providing up-to-date information. Watch weekdays in the noon to 9 p.m. hours on Channel 14 or 614. Green and Growing, brought to you by Riedel's Garden Center, a full-service garden center west of Hayes on Highway 40, and Eagle TV.
With our current weather conditions, it takes a real expert to create landscape that'll thrive. Riedel's Garden Center has the staff with the expertise of water requirements for plants, lawns, and landscapes that'll stand up to our changing weather conditions. With 25 years of hands-on experience, owner Darren Riedel will customize a landscape design and irrigation system to meet your expectations and our climate. It's recommended to protect your lawn using Fertilome products available at Riedel's Garden Center, an authorized dealer. Call or stop by Riedel's Garden Center today.
As gardeners, we take a lot of pride in what we're growing, and we want to do so in the best way possible. We try to do things as organically and as chemical-free as we can, but sometimes, let's face it, we live in Kansas and there are lots of pests, there are lots of weeds, and we just sometimes need to use a chemical of some sort to help with the process, and that's not a bad thing at all. I wanted to talk just a little bit about proper pesticide use today, and one of the biggest things that I like to tell people is that you really need to know what pest you're treating for before you use a pesticide. So if we're talking about a weed, you need to know what that weed is. If you're talking about an insect in a plant, you need to know what that insect actually is and make sure that it's actually a pest before you go out and use some sort of chemical. If you have an insect pest that you don't know what it is and you want to find out, that's where the extension agents in the extension offices around the state can help. We can identify those things for you and figure out, is it an actual pest that's causing damage, or is it a beneficial insect that may be helping you? All of those things are important to know when you go out and decide to use some sort of insecticide or herbicide or fungicide, any kind of pesticide. Now, I wanted to talk just a little bit about pesticides. There's so many different ones out there on the market, and I brought just a few examples. When you're out shopping for pesticides, one thing to consider is that active ingredient. If you're looking for a broadleaf weed killer, for example, and we talk about active ingredients, that is always listed on the label, which I do recommend that everyone read the label. It is actually the law. Whatever the label says is actually the law of how you are supposed to apply that chemical. So if you want to find out what the active ingredient is, it's always on the front. Look at the front of the product. Doesn't matter if it's an insecticide, herbicide, fungicide, that active ingredient will be listed there. And you can find out exactly what chemical is in that product. That's a very important thing to know, because as you may know already, if you go out shopping, there are lots of different types of chemicals. Some of them contain one active ingredient, some of them contain 2 active ingredients, some of them contain 4 or 5 active ingredients. It's really important to know what you're going to be applying. Now, if you're using a glyphosate product like Roundup, that is something that is commonly used. It will kill whatever is green that it touches. If you are spraying, for example, this bindweed in between these peonies with Roundup, it's not going to hurt the peonies as long as you don't touch the peony foliage. Roundup or glyphosate will not move through the soil, so therefore it will not hurt the roots, but it will hopefully kill back some of this bindweed. Now, if you accidentally purchase a glyphosate product that has something extra in it, let's say a liquid edger or a glyphosate plus something else, there's potential then to hurt one of these other types of plants that maybe you do not want to spray. So you have to be real cautious about what is actually in the products you're choosing. Don't just go by that brand name. The other thing I wanted to talk about is drift. So if you're out spraying for weeds, especially with herbicides, you want to make sure that hopefully it's a nice calm day like it is today, and you want to be aware, if you do have a little bit of a breeze or some wind, what direction is that breeze coming from? Do you have sensitive areas in the location that could be affected by the herbicide that you're applying? So if you're applying weed killer to the lawn around a garden bed, you want to make sure that the drift will not occur or flow onto that garden bed. So common to see herbicide drift damage on tomatoes, grapes, red buds, other sorts of garden plants, flowers, and it's just unintended effects of some of those herbicides that we use in our lawns and our gardens. So you just need to be cautious about that as well. One final thing I wanted to mention, we're talking about different things out there on the market. You can purchase glyphosate, which kills anything. You can purchase insecticides, which kill target pests as far as insects go. Make sure if you're using a hand sprayer at home that you have a separate sprayer for your herbicides versus your insecticides. Sometimes we get into a hurry and maybe we've used glyphosate in this container one week, and then the next week we decide we need to go out and spray for bagworms in our junipers, and we use the same spray or the spray tank, and we maybe don't clean it out as well as we should have in between. Or we think we had something in there from the week before, but it was actually something else. It's real easy to keep a separate tank for your herbicides versus your insecticides. That way you don't accidentally have one of those mistakes where you put Roundup on your junipers on accident. Not very expensive to purchase these at the store. Just go ahead and label them herbicides versus insecticides, or you may even want to have a separate one for glyphosate or Roundup products completely. When you go out and spray these products, the other thing is read the label so that you know exactly how to spray. But a lot of times when you're spraying for insects, for example, you want to get thorough coverage. So not only spray the outside of the plant, but stick that spray wand inside the plant as well and get thorough coverage of all of those leaves. That is really the only way to get great kill to some of those insect pests that are very hard to kill otherwise. So you want to have thorough coverage, proper application, read the labels, and hopefully you'll have great success with your gardening this year. If you have questions about what pesticides to use, or if you have insects or weeds that you want to identify, contact your local extension office for more information. Reporting for K-State Research and Extension, Eagle TV, I'm Holly Dickman, Ellis County Horticulture Extension Agent.
Don't miss the Green and Growing Show in the noon to 9 p.m. hours on Eagle TV. Ellis County Horticulture Agent Holly Dickman will identify common lawn and garden issues while providing up-to-date information. Watch weekdays in the noon to 9 p.m. hours on Channel 14 or 614. Green and Growing, brought to you by Riedel's Garden Center, a full-service garden center west of Hayes on Highway 40, and Eagle TV.
With our current weather conditions, it takes a real expert to create landscape that'll thrive. Riedel's Garden Center has the staff with the expertise of water requirements for plants, lawns, and landscapes that'll stand up to our changing weather conditions. With 25 years of hands-on experience, owner Darren Riedel will customize a landscape design and irrigation system to meet your expectations and our climate. It's recommended to protect your lawn using Fertilome products available at Riedel's Garden Center, an authorized dealer. Call or stop by Riedel's Garden Center today.